Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody. Hey Steve, I already reached out to that young lady we used for the last voiceover job. We'll see what she says.
She could do a lot of different voices. I liked her.
Yeah, she was really good. Um, she was pretty fiery. All right. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody. Even though it's the 31st of January, my gosh, where did the month of January go? Let me see. I want to share my screen. Steve, did you want to? Did you want the screen, or are you good? Just yeah.
I don't have much to show anybody.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with a message from our CEO, Steve. So go ahead, Steve.
First item is not Kendall, but Ed and I have been working on mostly Ed, and he's excused today. He's doing a demo right now as we speak. We've submitted an application to the Bond Secure Mercy Health System, which is Ohio, Iowa, down clear through Texas. They have 62,000 employees. They specifically reached out to us, wanted to know our capabilities and some integrations that we're doing. And I haven't heard the final word yet, but I know we're going to be a finalist sometime in the next week or two. Ed did a great job. I think I mentioned that to you guys before. That'll be our largest account yet if we get it. I'm excited about it because it's pushing us to do things that we haven't already done, one of which is to get our security up to speed where it needs to be. And for a long, long time, a lot of companies avoided putting their websites and their computer stuff up in the cloud because they were very, very concerned about security. And what the cloud technically means is everything pretty much in the cloud. Everything that's on a server anywhere. It's just kind of where the server is. If it's not sitting in your room with you, it's in the cloud for the most part. And so Amazon AWS has made huge strides in this area. We have always been with a hosting service out of Houston, Texas called HostGator. They were a great start 10 years ago, but their server has never been HIPAA compliant off the rack. We've had to make it HIPAA compliant, which means we have to do a whole bunch of things like create an encryption process to encrypt biometric data and personal health information, do audits on our system. We had just hired a guy to do some vulnerability assessments and penetration assessments of our system. So there's a whole bunch of things that have to be done pretty much on any server that is HIPAA compliant. And unless you're with a group like AWS, you're going to spend the time and money and do it yourself, which with the resources that Amazon has, we will be a much, much more secure organization cybersecurity wise with Amazon than we would ever be on our own. And it opens us up to a whole bunch of amazing possibilities that we don't have right now. So starting on the 4th of February, we have hired an AWS architect to migrate our server over to AWS, Amazon AWS. We're going to split our server into two, put the data on one rack, put our application on another rack. Everything is HIPAA compliant, everything is encrypted. And now once we're under the AWS umbrella, it's technically, we don't have like a traditional server like we do now with a hard drive that's backed up by another hard drive. We have what's called an instance and an image. And if somebody does a denial of service attack, like if 1 million people try to hit well steps at the same time, we can handle that. If things go down at any moment of any time, we can handle that. There's just redundancies and scalability and elasticity. And my favorite part is the security. So we had an account with Ed about 5 months ago. It was in a banking firm. They wanted a SOC 1 report or a SOC 2 report, which is a cybersecurity evaluation and audit that's done by large accounting firms for the financial industry. We've never done one. We don't have one. It essentially has an outsider come in and try to break through your system and find holes. Anyway, AWS, of course, has it. In fact, AWS has every certification for every organization ever invented. And all I do is just click and download the PDF and send it to our next groups. So we're moving servers. That process begins on the 4th. We will get an instance in place. We will start testing that week. And then we're going to set a weekend, maybe within a couple of weeks of the 4th, where we will migrate literally everything off of HostGator, including our domain names, and we will be officially at AWS. We won't move unless everything's up and running perfectly. I didn't want to bother Brian. I didn't want to bother Paul. I don't want to pull them off any of the tasks or any of the ticket items that they're working on so feverishly. So we opted to hire an AWS architect who does this stuff in his sleep. I think we've got a great partner. He's a Brit. He's from actually in Miami. And these guys are just telling and explaining things that I never thought were possible with servers. So I know some people might be a little freaked out that we're changing servers. On a side note, had we stayed with HostGator, we were going to be required to change servers sometime this year anyway. And our initial plan was to do that in July. But now that we've started to dip our toe in the AWS pool, I have been more excited about this than anything we've done in a long time, which says a lot because I'm talking about servers. But it's going to take us to a whole new place in terms of the integrity, reliability, the security of our system. We've never been there before. And nobody is going to come to us and say, hey, we're worried about your security. We don't have to hire any more auditing firms. We don't have to hire any more security people. We're golden. And we've got the power of AWS, of Amazon behind us. And a lot of huge hospitals, a lot of big companies are using AWS because it is the most secure place they can possibly be. Oh, and by the way, it's cheaper than what we're doing right now. So there's a lot of reasons to move. There's a couple reasons to not to move because, quite frankly, it's a pain in the butt. I've not involved Paul or Brian to any extent. They're going to be continue to do it. We're going to get it out of the way and let an expert bring this up to speed and get us going. We will need some testing. Again, the week of the 4th, which is coming up pretty quick, next week, in fact, we will start doing some earnest testing. When we're all happy, we will shut the website down. It'll be a weekend. It won't be for very long. Could be as little as a couple hours. It could be as long as a day or two, but we'll do it over a weekend. We'll put up a little note saying we're shut down. We're making upgrades. Come see us on Monday. Flip the switch, get everything to migrate through the web and get everything to transfer over. And we should be up and running, and we're never probably going to change again. So this is the last time we will ever do this process as long as I'm with this company, because it's good for 40 years. We're good unless Amazon blows up. And I don't see Amazon as being the last company in this space to blow up. So I am crazy excited. I am super ridiculously excited about making this switch because I'm the one who's been dealing with all the security complaints and all the requests from our current clients about this security and that patch and all the auditing things and all of that. My life just got a ton easier, and I sleep just great now, but I'm going to sleep really good going forward. So that's our schedule, Troy.
I'm just laughing at you because, and I know everyone else is too, because you're really excited, and it's obvious you're very excited, but you're excited about a security related thing. And
yes, because I've been dealing with security bullcrap for years and years, and trying to fill out these security audit questionnaires every time we sign a big account. If it's a bank or a credit union or any financial institution, or if it's any medical group, whether it's Tri-City Cardiology or Mercy Health or whatever it is, if it's any group that has HIPAA or financial money, I pretty much have to have a WellSteps rectal exam. And it is painful, and they cover everything, and we have made our server secure, but I have to convince them that our method is HIPAA compliant, which it is. And in some cases, they still don't like it. For example, the last one, we don't have a SOC 2 report. No, but we are compliant with HIPAA. Well, we don't care about your HIPAA. So it's just been a constant back and forth, a nightmare. And I'm the one taking it on the chin for all of this. And we have lost a couple of accounts. A long time ago, we never got an account with Best One Tire. Would have been a really large account for us. They hated our security stuff. And I agree. At that point in time, we were just getting serious about this. But if we had that account now, there'd be no question that we would be way enough. And they, on a scale of 1 to 10, they were a 10 on security. Most groups don't even care. They don't send us any security stuff. We don't have to do any exams, no vulnerability assessments. They're like, okay, we love you guys. Let's get started. But the others, oh boy.
I'm just doing a standing ovation with everybody. We're really happy to be moved to Amazon, and I know that maybe there are a few people out there freaking out, but we've talked at length with Jenny on this. Steve, you and I have talked about this at length, and this is clearly a good move for us. And like you said, we would have had to move anyway, so everybody knew that. So, and
with this account with Mercy Health, I don't think we'll ever get it if we stay with HostGator. They're going to look at it and go, we would prefer you guys looked and acted a little bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that said, any questions on the move to Amazon, the migration?
I do have one quick question. So I know that we had talked about notifying our resellers specifically. Is this something that is even going to need to be brought up with them or even our regular coordinators? Or does this really mean nothing to them?
Jenny, you and I talked earlier, and I've had a change of heart. I'm pretty confident since we've partnered with a guy who does this with hospitals and clinics. I mean, this is a guy who does this all the time, and he's very, very on top. In fact, he actually wrote 4 or 5 of the Amazon tutorials that teach people how to do this when he worked for Amazon. So he gets this. I'm super happy and comfortable working with this guy, and he knows 100 times more than Paul and Brian on this space. However, I think we need a plan B, and a plan B is things can go wrong, and we should plan for that. So when we pick a date, we should notify all of our coordinators, all of our accounts, that on this weekend from Saturday morning to Saturday or Friday evening midnight till Sunday evening at midnight, the website is scheduled to be down. It could be up earlier, but if we do that and we let them know and it's up, everybody's happy. I'm expecting literally a couple of hours for this thing to happen and flip the switch, because it'll be up. It'll literally take 5 minutes to bring our data set in. And then it's just a matter of waiting for things to domain names and DNSs to kind of triculate through the system with HostGator, and we're good. So better safe than sorry. We'll let you know when we have a date, and we'll need to let everybody know there is this window when we're going to be down for upgrades. And then if it doesn't happen, great.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
The worst thing that happened is that somebody would, a vocal user would go in on a Saturday or Sunday and try to do something and find that we were down, and then complain loudly to a coordinator and have the coordinator upset because they didn't know anything. And so I'm with Steve on this. We want to, so we want to let the coordinators and the resellers know that we're going to be down, and here's when we're going to be down, and so that when somebody contacts them on Monday morning, they already know.
And for what it's worth, our website will be faster. It will be noticeably faster. And, we've talked about things being kind of slow and chugging on Mondays when all the emails in the queue are going out. All those problems go away.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, I have a brief message. I just want to let all of you know that Sally has worked very, very long and hard updating the implementation guide, Worksite Wellness Implementation Guide. We were wondering whether or not we needed to go to the trouble to do this, but we knew that we probably wanted to update the implementation guide anyway, the new version has been posted, and actually the newest version with the typo corrected, Jenny and Sally, was posted about 5 minutes before we started staff meeting. So it should be up. If you still see the typo, it's because you need to do a hard refresh or something like that. But the newest version has been posted. Anyway, Steve and I talked, and we were like, well, what about the other tools on the WellSteps web page? Do we really need to focus on those? And my questions were specifically about the ROI calculator. And what we learned basically in a nutshell is after the ROI calculator, which still garners about, I don't know, 8 to 10,000 hits a year. That's actually a lot. The number 2 on the list of tools that for hits is the Worksite Wellness Implementation Guide. So I'm going to say great job, Sally, and woo-hoo, good job, and everything else that needs to be said. So we just provided an updated resource for all of our customers. So good job. With that, I'll toss to Jenny. Jenny, do you need the screen for anything?
I don't actually think I need it today. So
okay.
I just have a few things to go over. As you can see here, we've talked about it at length, but challenges are up and running. Just to give everybody a little bit of perspective, we're seeing about a 50-50 split with our current accounts, either starting challenges or demoing them as a wellness committee, and then those that are opting to hold off till they restart a new program year, which is very, very understandable and kind of what we saw with TLC as well. But we definitely want to make sure that these are being integrated into the programs as much as possible. And we want to make sure that we are receiving feedback on them. So if you have great relationships with your coordinators, which most of the time we do, definitely make sure to kind of ask them what their thoughts are, see if there are any pieces that are just not connecting, because what's going to happen at this point, now that we have Bring It On out there, Brian is going to start to build the other challenges that have been mocked out already. But of course, it's going to be better for everybody in the long run if we catch things early. So as you guys are getting feedback, please make sure to send that in so that we can catch those things. And we will certainly keep everybody up to date as new challenges are available and we have more offerings for those. So kind of to go along with the same lines there, Brian is now going to start working on the team room for our team-based campaigns. And he actually showed me a sneak peek. It's looking really good. And this is hugely due to the design team and all of the hard work they put in. I know there were hours and hours and hours spent working on this design. I'm really excited for it. He's going to have quite a bit of it finished this week, and then we will obviously do some fine-tuning, specifically with how each of our team-based campaigns work, because they're each a little bit different, and we want to make sure that it applies to all of them. So IT is definitely moving and shaking, as they always are. Just to give you guys a little bit of perspective, there were over 25 major tickets closed in December. It was just kind of one of those fluke months where we had a lot of requests from accounts. We had a lot of big things happening. So the fact that they were able to close and resolve all of those tickets and get challenges out as quickly as they were was pretty major. So going into 2019, I think everybody has this renewed sense of energy to get these projects happening, make these things come to the top of the priority list quicker and get things done. So, I'm excited to share that. I'm hopeful that I will have something for you guys next staff meeting on the 21st.
Let me just insert a major whoop whoop for Brian, the IT team, and the design team.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so another one that we have been talking about, the ops team has already seen this. There's really not any need to show it, but the MyTracker FAQ page is up and running. There are 4 basic sections to that page. The top of the page just gives a quick understanding of what the syncing capabilities are and how syncing works. really just to help the users understand that a lot of it is out of our control. We can only receive the data that they will give us, basically. Then we have a list of the most commonly asked questions. It's really nice how it's been set up. It's searchable, so it makes it very quick to find answers to your questions. The third section is all due to Paul. He was able to go in and list every single account device that we sync with and the units that are available. So there's no question on, you know, what users can see, what the capabilities are. And then the fourth section is just a quick troubleshooting section with some of the top 2 or 3 things that users can do if they're experiencing problems, and who to contact if they need additional help. So we'll continue to fine tune that. We all know that MyTracker is continuously evolving. We're always adding and changing things, and, you know, have different capabilities. So that will be a very fluid page. But we're hopeful that this will help kind of cut down on some of the questions and things as well.
Okay, I'm going to just insert right now that I'm showing in the lower left of my screen, video production order. I don't know, most of you know that, actually everybody knows that campaigns have been undergoing an entire rehaul over the past, all of 2018 for sure. And we're nearly done. So Becca's got this priority order, and I added a couple of things, or actually one thing at the bottom here, Becca, but she has got a priority order, we just finished a script, and the script has been sent off to we begged for help with a voiceover talent that we've used in the past. We try to get that done, and so we will have a voiceover script for you ASAP, and that will be the first one that we have video explainers do, 12 steps from a user perspective. And then we will also have how this works for MyTracker, and we didn't want to go through all of the different devices and the versions and all of that, but we wanted to give a kind of a blanket overview to go along with the page that you guys have just made. So I still need a script for that. Steve's supposed to be working on that, so it's not like he's sitting on his hands over there, but anyway, that's the next thing. I just wanted to stick that in there. Hopefully that's okay.
I am sitting on my hands.
Yeah. He's been on a server high this week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So definitely lots of great things happening. The operations team also knows there is a new report function tool that we are soon going to have access to that will help us as guides address individual questions, taking more of a proactive and diagnostic approach instead of waiting to see, you know, what's going on with devices and stuff like that and waiting for users to come to us. We're going to be able to look up users and kind of see more details as to if we have a valid token, you know, when we have the tokens, what they're thinking, all of that kind of information. So I'm not going to give too much on that yet because it's still very much in the process of being built. But Paul is just a rock star with MyTracker and has done a lot. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I think all of these things combined will help us really enhance MyTracker so that instead of being something that we do get a lot of questions on, we are still seeing a lot of use, but there's not as much time burden on the guides or on the IT side of things. So definitely moving in the right direction there. Okay, excuse me. So the last thing that we have, I'm actually really excited about this. So as everybody knows, during 2018, we did our kind of our employee spotlight throughout the staff meetings. We had our little wheel of fun where we shared 2 or 3 things about each other that most people didn't know. And I thought it was great. You know, we got a lot of positive feedback from everybody. I definitely learned a lot of things. So as we're going into 2019, we got some ideas from team leaders and from the guides on what we wanted to do to have that social aspect. And what was decided is a guess who type game. Now, I will say, this being our first one, we will certainly learn a lot, specifically, you know, how we want to present this. But what the basic concept is each staff meeting, we will give a clue and see who can guess the person that's being talked about, just like any Guess Who game. So I have a couple things here, and if you think you know who it is, you can shout out, you can chat in, and we'll be able to kind of see that and monitor that. And we'll do everybody by the end of the year. Hopefully, it might spill into 2020 a little bit, but I think this, again, will help us have the social connection that we all kind of desire, especially when we work remotely. So the very first person to be highlighted this year, this person teaches multiple classes. They have a June birthday, the beginning of June, June 5th to be exact. They have worked for WellStep since 2017, so a little bit newer.
It's Isabel.
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 I thought for sure that was yeah, I thought for sure. So yay, Isabel, you're our first one. And a couple of fun things that I was able to kind of find and remember from the spotlights last year is, Isabel, you teach Zumba, Pound, Mixed Fit. Are there any other classes that you're teaching right now?
Yeah, I teach high fitness actually, and I went to one of Allie's high fitness classes a couple weeks ago. She teaches that too and is great. So I teach 4 classes currently, or 4 different kinds.
Awesome. A couple of things that I will say, I was stalking you a little bit. A couple things I found out about Isabel that I didn't realize is that she is a singer. Somehow I missed that, but she has been in a lot of different choral concerts and a lot of different groups, and she has even done some choreography, which I think is pretty cool. So Isabel, seems like you definitely love to move, which is awesome and gives you a great perspective to share that with us at WellStep and our clients too. So
Yeah,
there's Isabel for the year.
Isabel rocks. I actually